So I know you felt like in this relationship before you did everything that you could, but it still leaves you frustrated, banging your head against the wall. You're disrespected. You feel like you've done everything that you could, but you can't figure it out and you don't know what the deal is. Well, there might be some things that you're doing wrong, but there's also very important red flags that you have to look out for. I wish somebody would have told me this when I was younger, but I was so stubborn. But please, dude, don't be stubborn. Just listen up. I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest red flags to look for in a woman. All the women that I've been with, I'm going to lay it out for you. But let's just first jump back to 2015. So this is about 10 years ago. I started dating this girl right out of the military. I was in the Marine Corps and I just got out of the military. I was 23 years old and I dealt with a lot. I was going through a transition period myself, just trying to figure myself out, trying to get reacclimated into the civilian life. But, I dated this girl for about 2 years. And as soon as we started dating, the first thing I noticed was she was always testing me. We got in fights early on. I mean, we're talking about verbal disputes. It was really intense, really heated. There was a lot of emotional instability. She was bipolar, diagnosed with bipolar, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, which I understand. We all have things that we need to work on, but very emotionally unstable. She had a lot of guy friends in her life. She was constantly needing stimulation from me, from someone else, and just needing to have some kind of stimulation in general constantly. And, I felt my intuition was telling me that something was off the whole time. I felt like my intuition was telling me, okay, this is not okay. You're going to have to leave the relationship. But I stayed anyway. And I stayed because, God, I felt like I needed someone. I felt like I just needed to have someone, and I craved to have that romantic partner, to have that close relationship with someone. But it just never got any better. Fight after fight, on holidays, on birthdays. I mean, I couldn't count how many times we fought. And it started in the beginning too. But we had amazing sexual chemistry. I mean, the physical attraction was there. We did have fun together, but there was just so many things from her family dynamics of her growing up, with her emotional instability, with all these extra male orbiters that I call male friends that she had in her life. And really, there was so many things. I didn't recognize it. But the first thing that you need to understand is the biggest red flag, number 1, is emotional instability. So what I mean is you want to be with someone who actually has good emotional regulation. Someone who can communicate how they feel and is not just completely irrational. Now, men and women are different. Women, it's expected that there's going to be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. But you want to date someone who is at least working on their traumas. They're working on trying to heal themselves, because nobody's perfect, right? I mean, look, we all have issues that we need to work on, but the thing is, having someone that has the awareness of their emotional issues and someone who has it under control. Because look, I'm not trying to date a child. I don't want to date someone who wants to get in a fight and a screaming match. Like, that's not what I'm about. And I'm sure you don't want to either. It's just going to cause you a headache. So number 1, you want to date someone who has emotional control, right? They're in control of their emotions and they accept personal responsibility and is not manipulative. Now, another part of this as well is someone who has good character. Like, you want to be with a woman who has good character, someone who's aligned with you, someone who has the same values and morals, right? But emotional regulation is going to be huge. A lot of men overlook this as a red flag. A lot of men overlook a woman who, just she wants to stir up a fight, she wants to start something, she wants some kind of drama. But you can't overlook this, because people show you who they are from the beginning. And at the very beginning, it's really easy to put on a front and to hide this. But I lived with this girl for 2 years. We were with each other through all the seasons. So I saw all the different sides and I still ignored it. But pay attention to how she handles stress, how she handles conflict. Does she raise her voice? Does she become irrational? You don't want to be with a woman who, just flies off the handle for no reason. Because you don't put the toilet seat down, because you don't, because you leave some dishes in the sink and she flips out about that. Like, dude, these are little things that actually become bigger things, and it's not going to go away. And you're not there to fix anyone. So make sure that you're with someone who has a good emotional control, a woman who's patient, a woman who's kind, a woman who will actually have an adult conversation with you. Right? If you're trying to communicate like an adult, someone who is in control of their emotions. I dated this woman, and this girl, man, she had a temper. I had a temper too. So I'm not taking the spotlight off myself saying that, hey, I wasn't part of the problem, but she had a temper and it came out a lot. There were even times where, we would get in shouting matches like in public. Like she was trying to start stuff around other people in public and try to embarrass me. You don't want to be with a woman like that. You have to look at, how she's handling these small things and see that this can translate into actually big things as well. So you cannot ignore that. The second thing is her lifestyle and habits. Like, what is she doing with her life in the day-to-day? Does she have good habits? Is she, the kind of person that's just scrolling social media, TikTok, watching reality shows, obsessed with gossip? Right? Like, you want to be with someone who is into the same stuff as you. And if you're obviously on this personal development journey, you want someone who is, she's using her time wisely. Like, is she taking care of her body? Is she exercising on a regular basis? Is she eating healthy food? Is she having an active lifestyle? These are all really important things, because if she's just sitting around, watching TV all day, watching the news, scrolling Instagram, like doom scrolling on TikTok and obsessed with her phone, bro, that is not the kind of person you want to be with. Someone who's always talking about the drama that she has in her life or other friends' lives, gossiping, all this kind of stuff. Like, that's not someone you want to be with at all, bro. And her lifestyle is going to be a red flag for long-term compatibility. So you want to make sure that you guys are aligned and make sure that you guys are into the same things, because I know I've been with girls in the past where all they would talk about is the drama that they have going on in their friend's life, and they're not really working out. They're just kind of coasting along and chilling. Maybe they're just partying all the time. Right? You don't want to be in a relationship with a girl who's just, literally maybe she's working her job and then she's just partying every weekend, going out. That's a huge thing, bro, because if you think about it, personally, I don't want to be with a girl who's going out partying every weekend. I've already been through that phase. I might do it every once in a while, but every weekend you literally work and then you live for the weekends. You have drama, you party, doing drugs all the time, and, just drinking all the time. Not someone that you want to be with. So you really have to look at her habits and how she lives her life. Like, is she actually getting up in the morning and having a productive day, having a productive morning on the weekends? Is she sleeping in super late and just watching TV or playing video games, scrolling on her phone for minutes and hours? That's not somebody that you want to be with. So you got to look at her lifestyle. And it doesn't matter how attractive she is, bro. It doesn't matter. A lot of guys overlook her physical attractiveness and let that be an excuse. Oh, she's just really hot, but they don't actually look at her lifestyle habits and how she lives her life day to day. So you need to make sure that she's like a quality girl. That's going to be huge. I've dated girls before who they partied every weekend or going out, they're drinking every night after work, having wine every single night after work, and then just coping and saying like, oh yeah, I'm just, stressed out, or going out and partying every single weekend. You don't want to be with a party girl, because let me tell you right now, bro. Now, if you're just trying to hook up and have fun, then it doesn't really matter. But I'm talking about if you're trying to find a quality woman to be with, a girl who's going out and partying every weekend, if you think about it, she's really putting herself in a position to potentially cheat. Now, I'm not saying it will happen, but people that are partying in the party scene, drugs, alcohol, all that kind of stuff, if you're in that environment more often than not, you're putting yourself in the kind of environment that can be susceptible for things like that to happen, for cheating to eventually happen. So I know now, if I'm dating someone seriously, I'm not going to date someone who is going out and partying every weekend, because, like I said, it just makes her more susceptible to cheating and to putting herself in that position. So why even do it to begin with? Because if she's going to live her life like that, then it's just not going to work out. Now, I'm not going to blow up and say, oh, you can't do this. I'm just going to say, hey, look, that's not going to work out for me. It's not going to work out for us if that's how she's going to live her life. So you got to pay attention to that. You got to look at her daily disciplines. How is she living her life day to day? Because think about, if you're trying to find a good compatible partner who's going to be a partner with you long term, right? If you guys aren't aligned in what you're doing and how you're living your life, then that's eventually going to clash, because she's not going to really appreciate those things about you. So you have to look out for that. My third point is social media and attention-seeking behavior. So it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, doom scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. You got to understand, if you are dating a woman who is addicted to her phone, she's addicted to social media, this is going to be a problem. Number one, because social media is so addicting. It's as addictive as any drug is, or worse. Now, if she's addicted to social media, you're going to see that she's following a bunch of dudes and following a bunch of people where she's going to be comparing you to her. Now, I'm not saying maybe she's consciously doing this. Maybe this is a subconscious thing. But if your girl is following a bunch of dudes that are, crazy successful in this fantasy land, she's going to be subconsciously comparing you to them. And she also needs constant stimulation, which means just spending time with you is not going to be enough. She needs constant stimulation. She needs constant attention, constant validation. Another thing to look out for is these influencers, these OnlyFans girls that are just posting their bodies a lot, posting their physiques, right, on their stories, on their timelines, just fishing for attention. I mean, it's just the reality. There's guys that are the same way. I used to be that way as a guy, always posting my physique. Right now, if you're doing it to make money, that's a little bit different in a sense. But what we're talking about right here is a woman who is not doing it for money. If she's just doing it to try to get validation from people, what is your attention going to mean to her? It's not really going to mean much of anything, because the most valuable asset any man has today in this society that is rampant with social media, Instagram, TikTok, is your time and attention. It's your attention. So if she's always posting herself, trying to get validation from other guys, if she got guys sliding in her DMs, commenting on her stuff, liking her posts, etc., she's already getting attention from all these other guys. So what is your attention even going to matter to her? She's not going to really be able to appreciate it, bro. That's the thing. And she's constantly needing these dopamine hits, right? A girl who's just addicted to Netflix and binging Netflix all the time, right? Not good. So attention-seeking behavior, always fishing for validation on Instagram and TikTok and posting herself. She's needing more attention constantly. And if you can't just enjoy your time with your girl and that be enough, it's never going to be enough for her if she's constantly needing that attention. I actually dated a girl one time, and she was literally constantly on her phone. She was on her phone when we were together, and she was constantly scrolling on her phone. She had maybe, 800 followers on Instagram, but she was following 3,000 different accounts, and her attention's going so many different places. It's never going to be enough. Now, I'm not saying that you got to date a girl who has a private account and she hardly ever posts on social media. That would probably be ideal. A woman who lives a bit more of a private life, where she's not posting about her entire life every single second of the day. It would be ideal if a woman is a bit more private with her life, but that's for you to decide. You just don't want to be with someone who is constantly seeking validation and attention-seeking behavior. My fourth point is going to be the relationship and compatibility factors. Now, this kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning about making sure that you're aligned, but you want to be with a woman who supports your mission. You cannot be with a woman who doesn't support your vision, your dreams, your goals, where you're headed. It is a red flag if she, for example, gets mad because you're spending time on creating content, or you're working on building a business, or whatever it is that you're doing, bro, that you're passionate about. If you get pushback on that and you get shit for it, she doesn't support you. If she doesn't support who you are as a person, it's not going to work out. It doesn't matter how good the sex is, how attracted to her you are, how much fun you guys actually have together. But if she gripes and complains about you being on your mission, it's not going to work out. You have to be with a woman who is supportive of your journey, a woman who is nurturing, who cares about what you're doing, a woman who believes in your vision, a woman who is your cheerleader, bro. You want to be with a girl who is your biggest cheerleader. That's what it's all about. Now, dude, if she has her own career, that's great. I think in 2025, it's great if, you both have your careers and your passions, but she has to be supportive of your mission. I remember this one girl that I dated years ago, and one of my biggest passions of all is health and fitness. I used to love bodybuilding. I was thinking about competing years ago, and this was about 8 to 10 years ago. And whenever I tried to eat really healthy, it's like I got pushback on it, or she made me feel bad about how much time I was spending in the gym and my food that I was eating. She made me feel bad about it because at that point in my life, that was really the most important thing to me, was my physique and bodybuilding, and I was just all in on it. Now, if I would have been with someone who actually understood my passion, and maybe they didn't have to share the same passion, it's definitely a plus. But if she's at least supportive of it, and it actually inhibited me from growing. I stopped myself. It's my fault at the end of the day. You always have to put the blame on yourself for continuing to stay in the situation that wasn't serving you. But I mean, I let her opinions affected me, and then I didn't actually actively pursue more of the things that I wanted. I felt like I was limiting myself and boxing myself in, and I felt like I wasn't really able to truly be who I am and actually express my passions and live how I wanted. And it created this resentment inside of me. So you want to be with a woman who's supportive of your mission at the end of the day. My next thing is the values and morals. So huge red flag. If you guys have conflicting values and morals, again, you have to be aligned. Like if she has, let's say, for example, she has a different religion than you, and let's say that's really important to both of you. Let's say your religion is really important to both of you. Okay? If that's a deal breaker and you kind of know it early on, but you just brush it under the rug because everything else lines up, well, I can tell you right now, later down the road, that's going to come back out and it's going to be an issue. So make sure that you guys have the same values. Like for example, if you want to have kids one day and she doesn't want to have kids and she's not even open to it, dude, like you might as well end it early. There's no point in stringing things along when you already see some of these red flags. Like, you guys got to be aligned. And again, if you are really into working out, but she doesn't really like to work out, you might can inspire her, you might can motivate her, but she's not going to appreciate it as much as you do. So it's best to just already find a woman who already likes the things that you like. Now, one mistake that I made that I would encourage you not to make is to expect everything from your partner, because that's why you have your own friends. That's why you have other male friends in your life. You should have other male friends that you can talk to things about, that you guys share interests, right? Now, with your girl, you do want to have a lot of the same interests. You want to be into the same stuff because that's just going to make it easier long term. But you should not expect every single thing from her, because that's too much to put on her. You also, huge red flag, her friends. Pay attention to her friends, especially her close friends, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and you are truly the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So you got to look at her circle. You got to look at the friends that are in her life and how they live their life. Like, are they party animals? Maybe she's got a friend who's kind of a slut, and maybe her friend is more of a crazy party animal than she is. Bro, I'm telling you, she's still going to have a little bit of that as well, even if she's able to hide it really well. Even if she presents a nice package to where she looks like the good girl, you know, she doesn't really seem like that. Well, if her best friend is for the streets and she's a slut, and her best friend is, you know, out, you know, slaying dick left and right and partying and doing drugs and drinking every weekend, no matter how good she hides it, how can she not be a little bit like that friend? She's going to have a little bit of that. So you got to pay attention to that. Look at the kind of people that are in her life. Her close friends. I like to say that women, they have their own council, you know, the women who influence their decisions, right? Their best friends, their tight-knit group. You got to look at who's in that group, bro. I'm telling you. Her friends are going to tell a lot about her. I know myself, I have a close circle. I have a very tight group of just a few guys, 2 or 3 guys that are my really solid friends. And we're all very similar. And so I know a woman would also judge me too based on my close friends, my best friends, because that speaks a lot about you. Another red flag that you got to look out for is her relationship with her family. Now, I know it's really uncommon these days for a girl to have both of her parents together in a loving relationship. It's very rare to find, because I actually grew up in a divorced home when I was in high school. My parents were together when they were younger, but now, you know, my parents are both remarried and they have their own separate families. But it's ideal that a woman has a good relationship with her father. That is going to be the most important. It's very important that she has a healthy relationship with both of her parents, or at least she's working on it. But the biggest thing you got to look out for is, does she have daddy issues? And I know it sounds kind of, you know, whatever, but it's true though. So you can always tell if a woman has a good relationship with her father. She's going to be able to respect a good man. She's going to appreciate a good man. She's going to be able to actually appreciate you, because look, dude, if she never had a good role model and a good father figure growing up, it's sad, but she's never going to be able to appreciate the man that you're evolving into, the man that you are, the man that you're becoming. She's not going to know and be able to really appreciate all that you are, being a good man. So you have to look out for that. Now, there's definitely some unfortunate situations where maybe her father passed away and, you know, she's had to deal with that, which is really sad. And I'm not saying that just because a girl doesn't have this perfect relationship with her dad that you have to just completely write her off, because that's not realistic and that's not fair. But you got to look at the relationship she has with her friends, and you got to look at the relationship that she has with her parents, because that's going to be huge, right? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Those are some of the biggest red flags. If this video resonated with you, I want you to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.